วัสดีครับสวัสดีครับคุณฟ้อง
Stress is a terrible thing, and sometimes when you live in such a busy city as Pattaya, or maybe for our viewers in Chonburi or Sattahit, it can get to you. How do you deal with it? Well, for many people, they get a little bit of relief, relaxation and respite by choosing to come to a temple.
Right, that's why we are here. Today we are at Wat Yanasangvaram, as we have an appointment with Luang Po Suchart, who will enlighten us with the answers of some of the questions regarding Buddhism.
For centuries, Buddhism has established itself in Thailand and has enriched the lives of the Thais in all their aspects. Indeed, without Buddhism, Thailand would not be what it is today, owing to the tremendous influence Buddhism exerts on the lives of its people. Wat Yanasangvaram was founded in 1976 by Somdet Wat Yanasangvaram, the Supreme Patriarch of Thailand, with generous support from the royal family. Located on a tapioca field surrounded on 3 sides by hills and mountains and the 4th side by the Gulf of Thailand, Wat Yan is 160 kilometres east of Bangkok and 20 kilometres east of Pattaya Beach Resort on the road to Utapao Airport. During the range residence, that's July to October, there are about 70 to 80 monks in residence and 40 or so monks at other times. The Wat also provides an opportunity for lay people to come and stay for individual retreats for 7 or 3 days.
Can you please be so kind in telling a bit of your background before you became monk?
Okay. I was born about 59 years ago in Bangkok. Then later on, when I was about 10, my parents moved to Pattaya and they sent me to school in Bangkok. Sent me to an American missionary school. It's the Christian denomination called Seventh-day Adventist. It's now called an international school. They taught English based on the American system. And after I graduated from high school there, I worked for about a year and a half as a translator, interpreter, saved some money. Then I went to school in the States, in California, went to college and graduated in civil engineering. After that I returned home and I just take time learning things that I want to learn, especially about religion. Then eventually I started some practice, some Buddhist practice, did some meditation, and I found it to be very profitable for me in the sense that I gained peace of mind. I was very happy inside. So I thought I wanted to have more of this. Therefore the only way to do it is to become a monk. Because as a monk, our main goal is to do meditation practice, to seek peace of mind. But in order to do this, we have to relinquish all our material comfort and seek only the spiritual, the inner peace. That's the reason why I became a monk since 1975. And I've been now a monk for about 32 years.
Luang Po, what is the daily routine of a monk in the temple here?
The daily routine for a monk in this temple starts about 4 o'clock in the morning, when the bell will be rung and monks will attend a morning meditation and chanting session, starting with about an hour of meditation in the main shrine, then followed by chanting for about 30 minutes. Then after that we prepare ourselves ready for going on alms round in the morning to go collect food for our meal, which we go to several villages around the temple. We have trucks or minibuses take us to the village, where we walk for about half an hour collecting food. Then after that we come back to the temple, to the dining hall, where we share the food that we collect, as well as we receive more food from people who come from other areas, like from Pattaya or Rayong. And on a special day, like we call it Observance Day, which happens once a week in Thai, called Wan Pra. This is the weekly religious holiday in which Buddhists will come to the temple to do their religious duty, like giving food to the monks and taking up the precepts, the 5 precepts, abstaining from killing, stealing, adultery, lying, and drinking alcohol. These are the 5 main precepts that the Buddha gave to lay Buddhists to observe in order to keep them safe and sound, away from all kinds of troubles. Then on these holidays, on this religious holiday, before we take our food, I give about 30 minutes of talk, just like I'm talking to you now, telling the lay people about the various aspects of the Buddha's teaching. When I finish, then the monks start eating. The lay people also eat the food that is left over from the monks. Then after that we go our separate ways. The monks stay and clean up the dining hall. After that, the monks go back to their own living quarters and are free to do more meditation, study the text, or just rest. In the afternoon, maybe about 3 o'clock, the monks are allowed to have a session of drinks, refreshments, like coffee, tea, or orange juices. The monks here eat only once a day. The morning meal that I just mentioned about, following the forest tradition. See, there are 2 kinds of tradition in Buddhism: city tradition and forest tradition. City mainly eat two meals a day: a light meal in the morning and one before noon, about 11 o'clock. And city monks' main job or main duty is to study the scripture, while forest monks are wandering monks in the forest, seeking the quiet of the forest to practice their meditation. They eat once a day because that's the easiest way to do when you're in the forest. And people who give you food usually are farmers, and they're not always there to wait to serve you. They only give you food when you go to collect in the village. Then after that they have to go to their farm to do their work. But it's also part of the practice to enhance or to help out in our development, meditation development. Because the less we eat, the less drowsy we become when we sit in meditation. When you eat a lot, when you try to sit in meditation, you usually fall asleep. Okay, so let's come back to the duty of the Wat. In the afternoon, about 3, the monks will go to a central area. We call it a coffee shop, where we can have our drinks, hot drinks or cold drinks. Then after that, we help sweep the grounds, the path of the temple. Then we wash and get ready for the evening session of chanting and meditation, which starts around 6 p.m. and lasts maybe for about an hour and a half until 7:30. Then after that we go our separate ways back to our quarters to do more meditation, either sitting or walking meditation. Then we rest, go to sleep, and get ready for the next day, which starts around 4 o'clock in the morning. So this is the routine that we do every day.
There's no holiday.
No holiday for us. Actually, being a monk is already a holiday, in the sense that we don't have to work, we don't have to pay bills, pay rent, nothing. Everything is paid for. Only thing that expect of us is to observe the 3 duties of the monks. Usually is to one to do good, second to abstain from doing evil or bad things, thirdly is to purify our mind with the mind of the 3 defilements, namely greed, hate, and delusion. These are the 3 things that cause all the troubles in the world and in ourselves. We are not content, we are not happy because of these 3 defilements. If we could somehow get rid of all of them, then we could remain in peace at all times. We will never be hungry for anything.
What is karma of life, and how do we maintain a happy life at all times?
Karma in Buddhism means action, the things that we do by way of thought, words, and deeds. These are the cause of our happiness or sorrow. So we have to watch what we do, what we say, and what we think, especially what we think, because what we think is the one that will tell us what we do and what we say. Like today, you decide before you can come here, you first have to think that you want to come here to see me. Then you tell your friends, get all the equipment ready, then you get here. So these are the 3 actions of thoughts, words, and deeds. And you can do good or bad thoughts, words, and deeds. If you do good, then you become happy. You feel good. Like you want to go help someone today. Maybe go give food to the elderly or the handicapped. Maybe it's your birthday, and you want to do something good. When you do this, you feel good. On the other hand, if you go steal, if you go say something bad to other people, you will feel bad after you have done. And these things accumulate and becomes what we call habit-forming things. And this is the thing that will determine your future birth and also your present life. If you keep on doing good things, you will always be happy. But if you keep doing bad things, you always have bad feelings all the time. That's why the Buddha stressed that the 2 actions that I mentioned early on, to do good things and to avoid doing bad things. But you also have to get rid of the 3 delusions, the 3 defilements, namely the greed, hate, and delusion, because they are the root cause of our bad actions. You might not think so, but when you wanted something, if you could afford to get it legally or morally, then it's okay. But if you cannot afford and you still want what you want, you might have to go steal or rob a bank so you can get the money to buy the things you want or to do the things you want to do. And this is because you have greed, you have desire, you want to do this and that. But really you don't have to do anything you can be happy. Just sitting still, you can be happy. But the reason why we cannot sit still is because of our greed. Our greed keeps on pushing us to go and acquire things, acquire this and that. And when we go acquiring things, we tend to go into a lot of trouble. We have to compete with other people, and we might have to do things not proper, or not right, or not legal. Then it gets us into trouble. But if we can overcome our greed, our desire to have this and have that, to do this or do that, then we can just stay at home and be safe and sound. So these are the root cause of all our problems, are the greed, hate and delusion. When you want something and someone stops you from getting it, you get mad at that person. You get angry and you want to do something bad to that person. And the reason why we become greedy is because of our delusion. Delusion means that we don't know where true happiness is, where the real happiness is. Our delusion always tells us that there's always something better on the other side of the fence. The grass is always greener on the other side. But in truth, there's nothing good at all or that can really bring us true happiness. Everything external really are the source of our troubles and unhappiness, anxiety and worries. Because everything in the world changes. They don't remain the same. You get something good, then in a few days' time, this thing will turn sour or gone bad. Then you have to look for something else. It applies to everything, human, living things, or inanimate things, like material things. The Buddha said they are impermanent, and they are the cause of our mental stress, anxiety and worry. If we want to have a peaceful, calm life, then we have to relinquish or not rely on these things. This is what we call wisdom. We have to be able to tell ourselves that everything in the world is not worth the effort. It's better just to live without them. But it's hard to do because your delusion and your greed keep pushing you. And you cannot stay at home and not doing anything. You feel terrible. You feel bored and you feel isolated and you feel unhappy. But these feelings could be overcome by the practice that the Buddha prescribed for all Buddhists, namely these three actions: do good, avoiding doing evil, and eliminate the three defilements, which I can explain briefly. Doing good means like giving things to other people, helping other people, while avoiding doing bad things means not hurting other people, like abstaining from the 5 precepts. And elimination of the defilements of greed, hate and delusion, we need to do the meditation practice. We have to sit down and concentrate our mind on one particular mental object, maybe your breathing for instance. Just focus on that object and try and avoid the mind from thinking about anything. Just concentrating on your breathing. When you're breathing, just be mindful that you are breathing in. When you're breathing out, be mindful of that. Watch your mind. Don't let it go think about other things. If you can persist in keeping your mind focused on your breathing, sooner or later your mind will converge and drop into calm, like a golf ball that you hit into a hole. Once the mind or the golf ball falls into the hole, it cannot move around. The same way, once the mind converges into what we call one-pointedness, then the mind will rest and become at peace with itself. At that stage, you will experience the spiritual kind sense of well-being, calm, contentment. If you can experience it just once, then you know the answer to life. This is the answer. This is what we are looking for. It's the Holy Grail in Buddhism. Okay?
Turn. Long Paul, for those who have sinned, can they be redeemed?
No, sin, once you commit it, you have to brace for the result that will come. But they could come, you cannot tell when they would happen. Maybe it never happened in this lifetime. Maybe it will follow you to your next lifetime. But the immediate results of sin is just like I mentioned earlier on. You feel bad. If you commit a crime, you will be afflicted with worries and anxiety. You're afraid when you look at a cop or someone, you're afraid that they might know what you might have done. This is already the result of your sin. You cannot absorb the sin, you cannot wash it.
Is there really hell or heaven after life?
Hell and heaven is already here in this life and also in our later life. When we feel good after having done something good, this is heaven already. It's all in the mind. When we do something bad and we feel bad, this is already hell in this life. But in Buddhism, this heaven and hell also exist after we die. It depends on how much we have done. Both hell and heaven, we will have to reap them. Maybe not in the same life. For instance, if we die, after we die this life, and it was time for our bad deeds to bear fruit, then we will have to go to hell. And if it's time for our good deeds to bear fruit, then we would go to heaven. But heaven and hell is not a place like this here, not like Bangkok or Pattaya. It's not a location, it's a state of mind. The mind is something very difficult to grasp. We all have the mind, we all do have the mind, because without the mind we cannot know. The mind is the consciousness, but at the same time it's the seat of our emotion, of our anxiety and suffering, of our happiness. And this all results from what we do, what we think especially. When we think good, we already feel good. We're already in heaven at that moment. So, but what we do, whether good or bad, they tend to accumulate and become habit forming. And we will keep doing it again and again, repeatedly. So this is the real heaven and hell. It's inside the mind itself. But the mind is something that we cannot perceive with our eyes. The only way to perceive the mind, to get to know the mind, is through meditation. As I mentioned earlier on, when we sit in meditation and focus on one particular mental object until the mind converges and rest in peace, in calm, that's when we will get to see the mind. Because at that moment, the mind also is detached from the body. It stops receiving all the messages that come through the five sense doors. The sound that comes through our ears, the things that comes through our eyes will be cut off temporarily. And there you will see the mind in its pure form. Then you will know this is where heaven and hell is. It's in your mind itself. Because when the body breaks up, the mind doesn't break up with the body. The mind will continue on depending on the state of mind it has developed. If it has consistently do good, then it will develop into a good mental state we call heaven, or the highest form of mental state we call nirvana. That's where the mind is totally free from all forms of suffering, because it has completely eliminated the three defilements of greed, hate, and delusion. But if the mind is being afflicted with worries and anxiety, then it is like it is being in hell, because these are the fire that consume the mind. So to answer the question, there is heaven and hell, but it's not a place or the location. It's just the state of mind that we are in at that time. After our body dissolves, and if it should happen to be time for the mind to reach the state of heaven, then it will remain in the state for a long time, but it will eventually disappear, and a new state of mind will take over. Maybe it is the state of mind for hell. Then the mind will be consumed by the fire of suffering, anxiety, worries, fears, and then again eventually it will reach the state of mind of a human being. That's when it will then take a human birth again. Or when it's time for it to take the state of mind of an animal, then it will become an animal. The thing that separates humans from animals is the maintenance of the 5 precepts. If we could maintain the 5 precepts, then we are creating the state of mind of a human being. But if we keep breaking the 5 precepts, then we are creating the state of mind of animals. And this will then be the cause that will make us human or animals, that will send us to heaven or to hell.
Long Paul, you told us the duty of a monk here in the temple. What do you think the duty of a Buddhist is?
For lay people, the 3 categories of actions that I mentioned earlier on also apply, but in a different level of intensity. Doing good for lay people means to help other people, like helping the sick, the elderly, the needy, and also help the monks, because the monks has no occupation. The monk rely on the support of the lay people to exist. So that's why lay people will give food to the monks every morning if there are monks who happen to pass by their houses. If not, then they will wait for the weekly religious observance day, in which they would go to the temple and bring food to give to the monks at the temple. This is what I mean by doing good. Just a brief example, but it covers everything that you do in your life. Whatever you do that benefits other people is doing good. Whatever you do that is beneficial and not harmful to other people. Even helping the animals. If you see stray dogs and you give them food, give them shelter, this is also doing good. But Thai Buddhists believe in helping the monks. Will give them the highest merits, because the monk is the one who will study the teaching of the Buddha, then translate into the daily life to teach people in their daily life. Because lay people have no time to spend time studying the teaching of the Buddha, so they rely on the monk to be the one to study, then pass it on to the lay people. So this is what I meant by doing good. And also, to avoid doing evil is to maintain the 5 precepts. This is the basic precept that lay people are expected to do: to abstain from killing, stealing, committing adultery, lying, and taking alcohol. The reason why we abstain from taking alcohol is because once you drink, you lose your ability to control your thoughts, your mind. You start thinking crazy things, and then you start doing crazy things that hurt other people. But if you think you can drink and then shackle yourself to a bed or something, once you get drunk and you go to sleep, then at least you're only hurting yourself, not hurting other people. This is the 5 precepts, is to avoid doing evil things. Then the third one is to try to eliminate your greed, hate, and delusion. by doing meditation. The simplest form of meditation for Thai lay Buddhists is to chant Buddhist verses. If you can concentrate on your chanting and not thinking about other things, your mind will generally become calmer and more content, because the mind has no time to think and worries about other things. It's a simplest form, which then will develop later on into the concentrating on one particular mental object. Then the next level, see there are two levels of meditation. First, to calm your mind. Once your mind is calm, it becomes reasonable, it becomes logical, it's not emotional. So you can teach it the reality of life that we will all have to face in our lifetime. Mainly that having been born, we are all subjected to aging, sickness and death. This is something that no one can avoid. And the best way to face them is to be ready for them. Because the body doesn't know anything about aging, sickness or death. It is the seed of these three things. But it's the mind who doesn't go age or get sick or die. It is the one that experience this experience, because it is being attached to the body. And due to the delusion, it thinks the body as itself. So when the body becomes sick, getting old or die, it thinks that it is also getting sick, getting old and die. When in fact it doesn't die. The mind, as I said, goes on after the dissolution of the body. So we have to teach the mind to be brave, to face the thing that will happen to the body. And once the mind becomes well trained and taught to accept it, it will not feel any anxiety or stress. This is what we call the development of wisdom in Buddhism, to know the fact of life and then to face it squarely and calmly. Because the one that faces this thing is not the one that is going through it. It is the body that is aging, getting sick and die. It is not the mind. But the mind, due to delusion, make it think that it is itself is getting old, getting sick and dying. Once it has learned this thing and it comes to acceptance of this truth, then it will not longer be afraid or resist. It will just accept it just like anything. Just like we accept the rain, the storm, the good weather or the bad weather. They come and go, but the mind doesn't go with these things. So too is the body and the mind. The mind just experience, just know the body, that it is happening to the body, not the mind. So these are the three duties that the Buddha prescribed to Buddhists to do: to practice charity, to abstain doing bad things by observing the 5 precepts, and then to practice meditation by doing chanting, and then contemplating on the impermanence of life.
หลวงพ่อครับ How do we get rid of material possession, and why do we have to do that?
Material possessions has benefits and harm. You need to have some material in order to live a comfortable life. Like the body needs the basics of life. You need food, shelter, clothing, and medicine to maintain life. But the amount that you need, you have to be able to discern and judge for yourself how much you need. once you have enough of it, you have more than what you have enough, it is not necessary. It becomes a burden to you because you have to take care of it. If you use this to decide, then you can get rid of a lot of material possession. Ask yourself this question every time: do I need it? Can I live without it? If you think you can live without it and you don't really need it, then don't take it, don't have it, give it away. Then you will live a simple life.
Luang Por, what do you think of people's perception of Buddhism in today's age?
Today's people's understanding of Buddhism is quite far away from the core of the Buddha's teaching. The Buddhists always teach the principle of karma. You have to rely on yourself, what you do. Even the Buddha cannot help you. Like people sometimes go to temple and pray and ask for things from the Buddha images. This is not the teaching of the Buddha, because the Buddha always said, you are your own refuge. You have to do good things in order to reap good things. You have to avoid doing bad things if you don't want to reap bad things. You have to overcome your greed, hate and delusion. But instead you go to the Buddha with your greed. You want your wife to be faithful to you. You want yourself to be always good, have good health. This is not something that the Buddha can give you. Because good health depends on how you live your life. If you abstain from alcohol and you do a lot of exercise, you would have better health than someone who drinks and who doesn't exercise. So this is really, yourself is the one to rely on, not the Buddha. The Buddha is just a teacher. But most people don't realize that. They think that the Buddha is like a God who can always answer your prayer, your wishes. If you want to enter into the university, you go to the Buddha, you go spend 3 days in the temple, and then you expect to be able to get enrolled in the university. Sometimes it happens, but it's not because of your prayer. It's because you study hard, or you have the qualification to enter. That's all. But sometimes people cannot separate the cause from the effect, and they are lumped to this magical thing about the Buddha images or a famous monk, for instance. If they need anything, then they will go and give him money, and then ask for whatever they want. And should they happen to get what they want, then they will go tell people about it, how sacred, how effective this monk or this particular Buddha image is. And people will all then rush to this particular monk and particular Buddha image without ever thinking that it's just a coincidental. You happen to get what you want because you just happen to get it sometime. It's like that. So this is the misperception in a lot of Thai Buddhists, simply because they don't study the Buddha's teaching.
หลวงพ่อครับ Why do you think some foreigners became monks and stay in the temple? And what do you think made them so interested in Buddhism?
I think because they study Buddhism, they read the teaching of the Buddha, and they understand and appreciate the teaching, and they know that they could put it into their practice and gain benefits from them. Just like me, when I first studied Buddhism and then applied the teaching of the Buddha in my life by practicing meditation, I find something that I have never found before, that is already there inside myself, inside all of us. But we keep looking for things outside of ourselves. We look for money, we look for material possession, and we are never happy with whatever we find. That's because material possessions are not the answer to our happiness. The real happiness is waiting for us inside ourselves. If we can just meditate and force or coerce the mind to enter into that one-pointedness, then we will experience the kind of happiness that we have never experienced before. I think this is one of the reasons why foreigners become monks in Thailand, because first they study the Buddha's teaching, then they apply it in their life, being charitable, abstaining from doing bad things, and practice meditation. And once they have developed and gained the results, it makes them want to have more of that. So the only way to do it is to become monks. And there's no better place in the world to become monks than in Thailand, because Thailand has a long-established tradition of monkhood. I think that's why the reason why most foreigners come to Thailand to become monks. Plus the fact that they found that material possession is not the answer. They come from countries where they are more advanced, more developed in material things than in Thailand. But they realize that that's not the answer to their happiness, to what they're looking for.
Yeah. How many of them are here with you today?
Right now we just have only one American young man who is an exchange student with the Rotary Club, and he came to talk to me a few months ago when he first came and wanted to know more about Buddhism. I told him about these things that we talk about today, and then I guess he decided that he wanted to try, so he asked for ordination. So we gave him one, and he's staying here now and practicing the daily routine that I just mentioned to you. And I asked him how is he doing, and he said he's very happy.
Luang Por, lastly, what words of wisdom would you give to our foreign viewers who are watching?
My word of advice to you is that be thankful that we have come across the teaching of a Buddha, because what the Buddha knew and what he tells us is the truth. It's the truth that will help us be happy all the time, be free from all forms of stress and unhappiness. If we can just study his words, his teaching, and then apply it to our daily life, then I'm very sure that you will always be happy. So let me put it in a simple way. That first of all, the Buddha said we have to do good. This falls into the category of being charitable, do charity, help other people, help those who are in need, those who are less fortunate than we are. Secondly, to don't hurt other people, no matter what you do, no matter what you want to have. Be sure that you don't hurt other people in getting what you want. Thirdly, try to find some peace of mind by finding quiet moments to do some meditation. You can start by doing some chanting. If you know some verses, just keep chanting and not think about other things. This is a way of pulling your mind away from all the stresses. The things that you think about usually creates stress in your mind. If you can somehow stay away from it temporarily, then it will be away from you temporarily. You will find some peace of mind, some happiness. Because the real peace of mind and happiness is in your mind, in what you think. Actually, in what you're not thinking. If you can clear your mind of all thoughts, then you will experience another kind of happiness. The Buddha said the happiness that arises from peace of mind, when the mind does not think about anything. And it's not easy to do because the mind, by its nature, keeps thinking all the time, like a monkey that keeps moving from one branch to the next. The mind keeps thinking about one story, then it moves on to the next stories, on and on, on and on. And at the same time, it creates all kinds of emotions along with it. If you think good, then you feel bad, you feel good. If you think bad, then you feel bad. Now if you think about what you did good this morning, like today you help someone, make them happier, make their life better. If you just think about that, it will make you feel good. But if you did something bad to someone, hurt someone, cause them to have trouble or unhappiness, then when you think about it, you will feel bad. So try to learn how to control your mind. Try to keep your mind to think good, not to think about bad things. In order to do this, you also have to learn to live simply. Because if you don't, then your greed will drag you to go do things that you are sorry later on. If you can live simply, then you won't have to go do things that will cause problem or hurt other people. So this is the way of life. Try to be happy with what you have. Try to live as simple as you can, as simple as you can. Basically, just to have the 4 basics of life, of food, shelter, clothing, and medicine. Once you have this, then there is no need to have anything else. Because everything else that you have, you also will have to have problem or stress with these things. Once you possess something, you want to keep it as long as possible. But by nature of things, things will not last. Things always change. They come and go. If you cling to them, when they leave you, you will feel terrible. Take it as it comes. You can have it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Then your life will be always happy. So this is what I would advise you to do. Try as much as you can. Try evil things and try to overcome your greed, hate and delusion. Can do this, I'm sure that your life will be better than it is now. I hope what I have said to you today will help you somewhat to understand Buddhism, to understand the monkhood. Thank you.
Hopefully some of the questions regarding Buddhism that you might have been answered. Am I correct, Paul?
Yes, Prince, for me it seems that Buddhism is like many religions. It sets up the parameters for the way that we should lead our lives, a bit like laws, if you like. But of course with Buddhism there's the added benefit of meditation. Hopefully this is giving you one step towards enlightenment.
And that's it for the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. สวัสดีครับ